But Mama Babo, how you say that name?
Fabio Maldonado.
Fabio, Mama Babo.
Chama!
Chama.
Chama, pô! Chama, chama!
Chama!
Chama! Chama!
Chama, caralho!
Chama! 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 Chama!
Count it up! Count it up! I'm the best boxer in UFC, baby! Oh, the no-look right hand! Oh!
Rob with the takedowns. You think he gives a shit if he misses a takedown? He don't care because he's going right back at it. But there's other guys that they ain't going to expend that energy because they don't have the energy. And they don't put the work Rob puts into it. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's fighting a 3-round fight. He fought 6 rounds. How many times?
But Mama Babo, how you say that?
Fabio Maldonado.
Fabio, Mama Babo.
Nobody knows, nobody give a Brazil don't care about sports.
The people pay because the people want to say, because I know the people pay.
I have a son to raise, I have taxes to pay, and I have a live to live.
I don't even care about this fight, to be honest with you. Do you want to watch that?
Count it up!
Rob with the takedowns.
Count it up! Count it up! I'm the best boxer in UFC, baby! Oh, the no-look right hand!
The judges for the contest, 48-46, 48-46, 46 and 47-47 for the winner by majority decision and
And still, ladies and gentlemen, the Undisputed African Fighting Podcast champion of the world. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends, and we are live for your weekend recap. With me this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is our reigning defending vegan champion of the world, of course, our chief analyst is, of course, Brother Gaia.
What's up? What's up?
Motherfucking gritty brush.
How's
it
going?
All good, bro. All good. How you doing, bro?
Feel good. Really good. Not gonna lie, it was a nice weekend. Great sports, great finishes. Arsenal top of the league. What can I say, bro? Loving life at the moment.
Up the Gooners, you say?
Up the Gooners, bro. Proud to be a Gooner.
Let's go, bro. But yeah, I'd ask you what you did this weekend, but you were on stream for a lot of it. So I'm sure that anybody who wanted to know what Brother Guy was up to can just rewatch the tape, see exactly what he was up to this weekend. Yeah, it was a good weekend of combat sports, bro. And like you said, we did also welcome back the Premier League. So yeah, great stuff, bro. We're gonna get started with the UFC.
Yeah.
And just before we do get into the card itself, bro, maybe you could tell us about what your biggest takeaways from the card was, yeah?
I think biggest takeaway for me, I don't want to say Arman Tsarukyan, best guy in the division. Because I did say that about him for a while. That I was like, no, this kid is high level. I think the biggest takeaway for me from the weekend was maybe we shouldn't put that much weight or justification on the Team Khabib team because they got handed to them. This weekend was a fight weekend where both UFC and ONE, where the Russian fighters didn't really get the time to expose themselves and show what they're all about. You know what I mean? They got taught lessons. I mean, Horiguchi, for me, other than Garry and Tsarukyan, Horiguchi stole the headlines for the UFC, bro. I mean, second coming, took out one of Khabib's team members. High level stuff. So for me, the biggest takeaway for the weekend of UFC in particular is that the Russian wrestlers have been exposed, guys. They've been showed how you can actually beat these guys. So yeah, that was the big one for me.
Okay, well, looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that, BG. Of course, we know that the Russians have been on top of MMA for a while now, so I'm very interested to hear if you have exactly a kind of anti-Dagestani wrestling formula for us to share with us a little bit later. But all right then, bro, without any further ado, we'll go to UFC Qatar. This, of course, took place on Saturday evening here in South Africa. Prelim starting at 5 p.m., main card starting around 8 p.m. We were live for it. Thank you for everyone who joined us for it. Really do appreciate all the chats. But as always, BG, we will start
at the top of the card. Let's go.
At the top of the card, we saw Arman Tsarukyan absolutely dominate Dan the Hangman Hooker. Sure, bro, like dominated him in the first round and then just was surgical with that head-in arm choke. And yeah, I just got Dan Man out of there as easily as he came in, bro. What can you tell the people here, bro?
Yeah, no, he proved. Look, I will say this. I don't think that Dan Hooker would beat Arman Tsarukyan therefore 10 times out of 10, to be honest with you. I think Dan the Hangman is of the generation of Dustin Poirier in them. So it's like, this is kind of like his last roll of the dice if you think about it. You put it in that perspective. And Arman Tsarukyan is the kind of fight style, the blueprint that is a nightmare for a lot of dudes, dude. A nightmare for a lot of guys, especially the top level guys, your Islams, your Ilias, people that put him as the goats of goats, right? Arman Tsarukyan is the kind of guy that, without all the antics and all the bullshit that he does outside of the ring and all that nonsense, when it comes to pure fighting and you break these guys down in terms of how they actually fight, Tsarukyan is a problem. Like it's the reason why Ilya and Islam don't put his name in their mouth that much, because I think they both know low-key this guy is actually difficult to figure out. Difficult guy to fight against. He's a tornado. He's 29 years old, powerful. I think we know how good of a grappler he really is. That we've all seen that. But the man striking, guys, we have to put that under the microscope because he outstruck the guy that only had one way to beat him, which was to strike with him. And Arman Tsarukyan outstruck him, and that's what led to all those takedowns. That's what led to the grappling in the second round. Phenomenal stuff. He's also an anti-Dagestani wrestler. People will say, "Oh, he's the same." He's from Romania, right? He's not from Russia. He's not from
Armenia.
Kazakhstan. Armenia, excuse me. Right? It's neighboring countries, but it's not necessarily the same. But just because he sounds like him doesn't mean he's like exactly like them. And he strikes in a way that Hamza doesn't strike. Islam doesn't strike like that. You know what I mean? These guys don't strike the way he's got this energetic way of fighting that if you don't keep that pace with him, he's just gonna maul you, bro. It's gonna be an ugly time for you every single round, right? So I gotta put that first onto perspective here because that's what led to him winning this fight in this manner. He was beating up Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker was doing his usual wide, long stances, throwing out the tips, which was the right thing to do, by the way. Right? That was exactly what you should do as a taller fighter as well, especially against wrestlers. If you kick their calves and kick their stomach the whole time, you're gonna make them not want to really fight the fight with you. They're gonna get tired very quickly. But Tsarukyan went in there and he was like, "I'm gonna box this dude in the first round and show him that I can actually outstrike him." And he did exactly that. And then, for me, the biggest thing in this fight that led to Dan Hooker's demise was when Dan Hooker started shooting on him. I was like, "Hey, that for me that's the biggest sign there that Dan Hooker's cooked here." He shot on Arman Tsarukyan, took a knee to the left eye, bang, into the round like that. The first thing he said to his coaches, to Eugene, in the corner was, "I'm uncomfortable." "I'm uncomfortable" was the words that he used. And I was like, "Yeah, I think this guy's done." His eye was shut. You could see the damage was. It wasn't like, when some fighters, when some fights happen, when someone gets punched in the eye, then like it swells up like here, just under the brow sometimes, or it swells up over here. And Hooker's eye was like from his forehead, around the eye like that, all the way. For me, that indicated fracture. Something must have cracked, right? He couldn't use the eye. It was bothering him. You could see they were so uncomfortable with it. He wasn't even striking the way he would like to strike. I can tell, okay, Dan wanted out of there because how is he going to go now for 4 more rounds after this with one eye? And not just because the eye poked shut. It's basically cracked, bro. Like this man's socket and everything, you could see it took damage in a way that didn't look normal. Yeah, ugly, just ugly stuff. And I think that bothered him. And you could see that he wasn't fighting the normal Dan Hooker way in that second round. He was shooting sloppy takedowns. It just didn't look normal for him. And Arman Tsarukyan looked like, "The grave is here. I target for you. I'm going to throw you in there. I'm going to seal it, and the fight's over." You could see he was prepared to end the fight in that second round. He's like, "This guy's not going to fight anymore after this." Choked him out. He didn't even have to step over. He didn't have to step over to secure the leverage for the head and arm choke. He was still in the half guard when he did it. And that tells you the high level pedigree of what Arman Tsarukyan is. He's a tank. He's an absolute unit. He's got the stuff. He's a young, vibrant fighter, and I feel like he's exactly the kind of fighter that Ilya and Islam wants to avoid, because he can wrestle with him the way everyone else doesn't want to wrestle with him. He can strike a little bit better than Islam, in my opinion. Maybe not box the same way Ilya boxes. I think Ilya's boxing is a lot better than Arman's. Arman's very effective with his striking. His striking does set up his larger game, the next move. You know what I mean? It's just high level stuff in a nutshell. And again, for Dan Hooker, legend, love the guy. He's an absolutely amazing fighter. Good, fun dude to listen to on the mic as well. Genuine kind of guy, very honest. But I do think at the age that he's at right now, you know what I mean? I think he's 36 years old, 37. But like I said earlier, he's of the generation that's like Dustin Poirier and those guys, which is pretty much on their way out. So I feel like Dan Hooker at this stage, losing to Tsarukyan, it's like a sign that's like, okay, he's the young cat. This is what the new breed looks like. Probably not going to get a title shot. Maybe he's got maybe 2 or 3 more fights in him. But again, not enough for him to showcase anything of his style. But that's not because of Dan Hooker. It's because of Tsarukyan. Top level stuff. I want to give him a hand because I have been saying this for a while. This is the dude to dethrone the GOATs, if you will. But yeah, that's my take of that fight, bro. I think Arman Tsarukyan is an absolute beast, bro. Beast. I'll say this even now. I'm extremely favorable for Max Holloway, whoever he fights against. I'll be purposefully cheering on for him, even though I think he will lose to certain fighters. Arman Tsarukyan would beat Max Holloway every day of the week. You can put
Damn, bro.
That's my guy. I'll never bet against Max Holloway. He's my favorite fighter since Dominic Cruz. But I know how to call a fight when I realize someone's gonna beat somebody. Arman Tsarukyan style is a nightmare for Max Holloway as well.
Yeah, no, I mean it's difficult to argue with considering his last performance against Dan the Hangman. But I mean, coming into it, bro, I did say it's an absolute nightmare style for Dan the Hangman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it turned out to be exactly that way. But the lightweight division is always super stacked, bro, and it is still stacked with a bunch of killers. But the landscape has changed quite slightly now with that result. So, who's fighting who in the next few pay-per-views, bro? How do you see the landscape of the division playing out there?
Dude, I can tell you this now. This division is very, very good to watch. Very competitive amongst the top 5. Or, top 7, I'd give it that. At best, top 7. Outside of that, it's like, because if you look at the Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, I'd imagine after 2 years from now, you probably won't see them again. You know what I mean? But in terms of matchups, I hear the conversation around Paddy the Barry going up against Ilia Topuria. I don't really think that's going to happen. I feel like, especially after what happened this past weekend and the weekend prior to that weekend as well, I think Arman Tsarukyan definitely, hope he gets a 1-5 DSPV. I think that the matchup that needs to happen for me is Tsarukyan Ilia. I don't think Ilia should consider talking about Paddy. I don't think he should go up against Islam. Not right now. You just won the lightweight belt. Please defend at least 2 times. At least 2 times before you go up, before you do some madness that he's been talking about. So I would say Arman Tsarukyan, Ilia Topuria, maybe February or March 2026. Maybe even later than that, April, May, maybe. But that needs to be the fight for lightweight division. I think we could get a rematch between Charles Oliveira and Max Bless. I feel like that will be the fight to make. And it should be for the BMF, but also for the rankings to get like an Arman contenders matchup. And unfortunately, Gaethje, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Apparently, according to Arman Tsarukyan, Gaethje was the first fight offered to him, and Gaethje said no. And that's why he had Dan Hooker, because everybody else said no. Which also speaks volumes to why, the level of Arman Tsarukyan, why people are avoiding this guy. No one wants to fight him. So I think it'll be a disservice to the division if they don't put Tsarukyan up against Ilia Topuria, in my opinion. And then Gaethje could go up against someone like either he can get Paddy Pimblett or he can get BSD, bro.
Yeah, I mean, good shouts there, BG. By the way, we got DSPV 27 all the way from the future. Let's go. What's happening, DSPV? Hope you had a good weekend, bro. Hope you got paid. Didn't see you for the UFC. Hope it went well for you, bro. I did check in with the Bookie Beatdown Discord there. I don't think we saw him for the UFC, but yeah, I hope it was a good weekend, Brush. BG, do you have any final thoughts here on the main event and the general landscape of the lightweight division, bro?
Yeah, I think final thoughts on this fight. Arman Tsarukyan proved why this guy is it's a high level win. It's a high level fighter and a statement victory for him. Let's be honest here, it's a big statement win for him because Dan the Hangman may have been proven or not proven, may have looked average in this fight, but he's fighting against a guy that took Islam to a split decision in his debut fight on a short week's notice. You know what I mean? So nothing. Dan shouldn't hold his head down, in my opinion, for this fight because Dan the Hangman could still put up a good fight, even against Max Holloway, bro. You know what I mean? Against Charles, against any of the other guys outside of that, I think Dan the Hangman put up competitive fights against Justin Gaethje, against Paddy Pimblett. You know what I mean? So he's still a top level dude, but I think the fact that Arman did that, big statement of the weekend, big statement, and for that division as well.
Yeah, I know Justin Gaethje said that he has to fight for the title next, which might be part of the reason why he is ducking Armand as well. But we got DSPV once again in the motherfucking chat. What's up, bro? I don't think UFC trusts Armand enough to give him a title shot after the after the injury, forced cancellation at 3-on-1. I did step in for the main event for UFC, made lots of money. Nice one, bro. As expected, making that motherfucking money. Shout out to the Bookie Beatdown Discord. But yeah, BG, what are your thoughts on the chat here, bro?
I I don't know, because my question to that is, how long do we hold that over Arman's head before he actually gets that shot, right? Because I understand the risks that happens if you do it again. Because it's like, are you gonna pull out again? Are you gonna hurt your back again? Are you gonna miss weight? Like, what's the situation? Yeah, you know what I mean. It does make the promoters go, oh, it's a bit risky giving this guy a title shot. But I mean, if he's gonna keep beating up contenders and stay in number one, how long then do we start giving him before we give him the title shot? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, he should get it next. He beat literally all the guys except for Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett and Max Holloway, obviously. And I think it'll be a slap in the face to the division if you don't give him Ilya, bro. Ilya needs to defend the fight. If you don't give him Ilya, right, then he's gonna get Paddy the Baddy. He's gonna beat Paddy the Baddy, and then he's gonna go give me Islam Makhachev, and then he might retire after that. Which all fair and well, they look. But for me, that's like a shitty thing to do for the division. As a fight fan, as a big supporter of combat sports and our divisions move, I'm with Liam Addison here. You don't wanna hold belts hostage. You don't wanna make a division go on stagnation. You wanna have the divisions move. I grew up in the time watching UFC where divisions were moving, bruh. Contenders were fighting the whole time, and I don't want to keep seeing these guys fight once a year, especially when they're this talented. You know what I'm saying? So, as a fight enthusiast, I would love to see Arman and Ilya throw down, because that kind of fight racks my brain. It makes me go, oh, that's a Barca Madrid situation right there. That's a high level kind of fight. That's a Champions League final right there. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see. But I understand the risks. But you can't put the man on ice indefinitely, especially if he keeps beating up contenders all the time. You have to at one point consider it like, okay, he deserves a title shot. You know?
For sure. PSPV in the chat. Dana said Arman starting from ground zero after that. He seemed pissed. Yeah, I remember he did seem extremely pissed, bro. But it's a fair comment. I mean, especially after that performance, bro. It's very difficult to deny him. DSPV once again in the motherfucking chat. Gotta go some other time later. Have a good stream, dudes. Give thanks, DSPV. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. Yeah, I agree with Liam Harrison too. It's the same thing as you.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Bro. And shout out to Liam Harrison who followed us on X, ladies and gentlemen. Let's fucking go, bro. Super psyched to see that. BG taking a little sippy there, something nice.
Yeah, bro.
But anyway, bro, we can go then to the co-main event where yeah, bro. I mean, it's like I was saying to you before we jumped on stream. Like, this was one of the few cards where it went as predicted for me. I did see Garry just having better well-roundedness, and the fight IQ was just too much for Belal. But what did surprise me though is how well he filled out, bro. How big is Garry at welterweight, brother? Yeah, BG, give us your thoughts here. Shout out 100%. To DSTV one more time before you get into it. Let's go.
I got to be honest with you. Excuse me. I think both of us were saying in the week that we spend too much time on the antiques of Ian Garry, the personality on the mic and outside of the octagon. But we also did say that when he does fight, dude, this guy actually is very good. Ian Garry has got fantastic coaching staff, right? He's got really good training partners, and he absorbs information so well that he can execute it. I mean, the guy outside of Shavkat Rakhmonov has been beating everybody, and at good fashion. Yes, sometimes we go, oh, Jade would say he's running around, he's running away from the opponent, he's using this lateral movement to stay away. Some people would say, oh, okay, he took down Pratis because he didn't want any of that smoke. But this is the fight game, guys. You know, if I'm gonna go now box with you, AD, right? Now I'm gonna be like, okay, AD's got longer reach than me. He might be able to hit a little bit faster and has more distance management.
Count it up! Count it up!
I'm probably not gonna out and out box with you all the time. I'm gonna strike with you here and there, but I'm not gonna keep it there. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make you uncomfortable. I'm gonna wrestle with you. I'm gonna clinch with you. I'm not gonna do that the whole time. And then Garry does that really well. I think his best attribute is that he's able to game plan opponents and execute that game plan to a T. And then also sometimes even in-fight adjustment. Like against Pratis, for example. He tried to strike with Pratis. All right, we're gonna go. He realized this man hit fucking hard and he's quite dangerous. Let me take him down. Let me wrestle with him. I'm not gonna tap him out, but I'm gonna keep him there and he's gonna defend me all the time, right? And then that for me is good coaching and good game planning and execution as well. So Ian Garry, yes, he fought out really well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he knock down Belal Muhammad in this fight? No.
I don't remember a knockdown now.
There was no knockdown. They both were tagging each other. When Belal Muhammad boxed, bro, he also fought a good fight, but he couldn't get to where he wanted to be, which was the takedowns. But Garry, great takedown defense, fantastic distance management, good lateral movement, good activity on all possible range. You know what I mean? That's mid, close, or far distances, which favored him a little bit more. He was clean and concise in all those moments, and that one in the fight for me is that he was able to stay on top in every avenue the fight went. Whether that means he's going to be defensive now, right? Because when he was being offensive, he was tagging Belal, and he was dominating those positions. But Belal has got such an incredible, I don't want to say durability, but I mean, how many guys have hit him so far now, and he's been taking the shots, and he still puts the pressure on you guys. So Belal, another fighter that for me is a little bit misunderstood. Yeah, he's a little bit cringy. He's a bit hard to get behind. He's not the most fun guy behind the mic. But again, if we can put the goggles aside and watch him fight, the dude fights a fight style that can put anybody in problems because of the pressure and the pace that he puts on you. You're forced to either fight him back or you're gonna just become a victim to his style. And Garry was like, nope, I'm not gonna be that victim. I'm gonna put you on the back foot. I'm gonna beat you in every avenue and watch how you can't take me down. I think that's what was the keys to his victory. That he was able to stuff all the takedowns successfully, got rewarded for those stuffing of the takedowns, and then put the hurt on Belal afterwards. Great performance. Love the promo he cut at the end of the fight and who he called out. It's brave to call out Islam, and he did that, and I found that very, very impressive. And I thought the fight style was also really good, and he also called out Shafkat. Not called out, but he mentioned Shafkat as well. He's like, don't forget, Rakhmanov is still in the division, guys. You know what I mean? He's still around there. He's still in the top 3. Can't wait to see the progression of this division in 2026. It's going to be mad because that's the division right now where the top 10 is brutal. Yeah, love it. Good performance from Ian Garry. He deserved that win, in my opinion.
Yeah, Shafkat was, of course, in attendance on the night, ladies and gentlemen. So good to see him out and about. Hopefully, we'll see him back in the octagon soon. But speaking of the welterweight division, Brad, is, like you said, heating up at the moment. Yeah. Play matchmaker for us a little bit, Joe. What do you want to see going forward, bro?
Fun times ahead, yeah. So obviously now Islam's got the title. I don't think Islam needs to defend it right now. I think he can maybe wait until the end of the first quarter of next year to maybe defend that. So I'll probably go. It's a tricky one to say. I would really want to see Shafkat fight again, honestly. So we'll probably go Shafkat Rakhmanov versus JDM. I'd go Belal Muhammad versus Carlos Prates. I go Ian Garry versus Michael Morales next, and then Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. They're probably gonna give Kamaru Usman versus Makhachev. That's most likely what I think the UFC is gonna do there. Reason being is because of Usman's name, the notoriety that he has, the former champion, right? But also because he's also on the last legs, so it's like money fights or title fights only at this stage. I've got maybe 3-4 fights on my contract left. So it's like, I only want Islam. Islam's calling for him. It's probably going to be the fight. And then win or lose, they will depend on whether or not it's going to stay around the fight. But I feel like the rest of the division is going to go through another round robin, because that's what's going to happen again. I forgot about Joaquin Buckley. He's also still there. He might even get Brady next.
Because I was just going to say, remember, they fought already. And Brady absolutely assaulted Leon Edwards, bro.
Yes,
so I don't think that fight needs to happen anytime soon again. So I would say Buckley, Brady, yeah.
Yes, Buckley, Brady, Edwards versus Gabriel Bonfim, and then Machado, Garry Morales, Prates versus did I say JDM or did I say Belal?
No, JDM Shafkat.
Yes, that's my matchmaking for that division, or at least for the top 10. That's my matchmaking for the top 10 of that division. But look at that though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fight that stands out, I think, for a lot of people, they would also be Prates Moraes, bro. I'd love to see that.
I don't want to see that. I want to see that when it's forced. So it's like you have no choice.
Title.
Either for the title or
number one.
Yeah. Don't make them fight each other right.
But who's to say that wouldn't be a number one contender fight, bro? if one of them get a massive knockout. You know how
Yeah.
Dana White works,
Yeah.
bro. It's very much performance based. So they could be one away, either one of them.
That's
But
really
it
true.
is fascinating times in the division, bro. Just before we move on, you did mention the Kamaru fight, and I do agree with that. Based on the way that the UFC handles their business, what chances do you realistically give Usman here, bro?
I give him a good chance. I actually give him a very good chance. I think that Usman, because he's been out of the game, and like his last fight was Joaquin Buckley, and before that it was like a year or 2 years off, right? We've kind of forgotten. Or I'd say the general consensus is that they've forgotten about the guy doing pound for pound podcast with Triple C. But then he shows up against a really good contender in Joaquin Buckley, right? Who's been on a tear, and then schools him, like 10-8 him in fucking 2 of those 3 rounds, bro. Like pretty easily. And I'm like, yo, damn it. Yo, does Usman still have the stuff? You know what I mean? And I think he's a really high level fighter. And I feel like with Islam Makhachev, if you can sort of match him especially in the grappling, if you can match him in the grappling, then you're gonna force a fight out of him that maybe it's gonna be the dog fight. So if you think about Volkanovski 1, you think about Dustin Poirier, the final fight of Dustin, the last fight with Dustin's title shot against Islam. Those were grueling fights for Islam because those guys were able to match him in every position of the fight, whether it's grappling or striking. They were able to match him and go to and even he said it himself, like those were difficult fights for him. I think Usman possesses all those skills that those 2 guys have as well. Volkanovski and Dustin Poirier. Usman has those exact same skills. And here's the mad thing. He's not even a natural 170. He's a natural 185er. He's actually a big dude cutting down to welterweight. So I think Islam will realize, oh shit, this guy actually is on my level and could possibly beat me. You know what I mean? So I think it's actually going to be a fight where, if I give an early prediction, if they actually call that fight, I could see it going 3-2 to Islam. That will be my prediction. But it'll be a tough 3-2 for him. Like a hard fight, bro.
Fair play, BG. Let us know. Chat if you're with us. If anyone's with us this evening, let us know in the chat your thoughts here, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, all right then, bro. We'll go to the third fight here of our recap. And that was, of course, Volkan Oezdemir getting the job done against Alonzo Menifield. Not too much that we can say here, bruh. But Volkan Oezdemir was, of course, on the parlay. So shout out to him for getting the job done for us here. BG, give us your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats here. I find it quite amazing. Total amount of strikes thrown by Volkan Oezdemir was 14. What? I'm pretty sure I saw wasn't the finishing sequence that Musi combination against the ring, against the rope, against the cage? And then he basically carried him from there with a nice left shot, left straight, bang. But he first threw a switch stance combination. But anyway, I think I counted more than 14 when I remember the fight. But yeah, not much you can say. You're right. It ended very quickly. As we predicted, I'm going to say this now. Alonzo Menifield, never rated the guy. I don't know why he's still on the UFC roster. Every time I do watch this dude fight, which is quite frequently, by the way, he's been fighting a lot over the last 2 years. He's getting KO'd. He's getting beaten every single time, right? Volkan Oezdemir, he's an old guard member. You shouldn't be losing to an old guard. You should be, at best, taking them to a split decision, at best for the old guard. But realistically, as when you fight in the old guard, you should be wiping them out, bro. Like, you know what I mean? My time is now. You should be moving on. And Manifield's just not that guy. And I won't be surprised come the end of the year that we don't see him on the roster anymore. Volkan, that's what he does best, bro. We know that this guy can fight. We know that he's a fantastic boxer. Sometimes he keeps his head out open too much for me. But for the most part, this guy is really top tier. Surprised to still see him. What's his ranking? 8, I think. No? What is he? He's 9. And I heard an interesting stat about him as well, that he's never been outside of the top 10 since his induction into the UFC. That's really good. That's really, because he's been fighting for so long, right? And I always felt that he was going to outbox Menifield. I never thought Menifield was going to keep up with him at all. Surprised the fight even ended in the first round. Maybe I thought like a second round finish, maybe from Volkan. But yeah, first round KO, deserved it. Beautiful boxing combinations. That was a fantastic knee shot on screen there, which kind of ended the fight for him. So yeah, love to see it. love to see the parlay hits as well. Not much else I can break down really because that fight was pretty much self-explanatory when you saw the matchup. We just knew Volkan was gonna smoke him.
Fair play, BG. Maybe some thoughts about the light heavyweight division or what's next for Volkan Otemir.
Light heavyweight division. So let's look at that. Prohaska, Magomed Ankalaev, Carlos Uber, Khalil Roundtree. You could get Khalil Roundtree. You could get Jamal Hill. I'd say they probably give him Jamal Hill. Actually, yeah. They'll give him Jamal Hill because then what they will do is they'll give Azamat maybe Roundtree or Blahovic. But I think Volkan deserves a fight against Jamal Hill in my opinion because he out of all those guys like Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree, Dominic Reyes, I put in these 10 names in particular, is that they've had the shot and then just went after the shot. And I think Volkan, same thing happened to him when he fought DC. He got absolutely annihilated against DC, went down the dumps. But it's been coming back up the rankings since then, bro. Like he's been fixing himself and he's been fighting so much better since that time of losing so much. And I think he deserves to make a shout for some of those guys up there. If not Jamal Hill, give him Blahovic, bro.
Yeah, fair play, BG, fair play. All right then, we will keep moving and we'll go to Jacob Manson, who also got finished in the very first round here against Oral Bay. So yeah, again, not too much that you can say here. But yeah, in the opening exchange with Uruguay, did look very good, and then he got the job done, knocking Jacob Manson out there, bro. So yeah, your thoughts here?
Yeah, you say not too much can be said here, but I actually want to spend some time breaking down Mick the Beck because I'm a fan, dude. You know, I'm a fan. Even when I saw him lose fights, I'm like, I like the way this guy fight. You know what I mean? And he's part of the reason why I was saying like Kazakhstan and the Mongolian-based fighters. It's like, yo, what are they made of? What are they made of? They don't get tired. They're extremely powerful in grappling. They can strike really well. It's like, why are they such ultimate warriors, bro? They're such high-level fighters. I don't know what it is that they train like, but they're really, really, really good fighters. And I think what he did really well in this fight was he Jacob Manson in this fight. But that's how Mick the Beck fights. It's a high pace, high volume kind of fight. He puts it on you, and it's a lot of not only the pace but the pressure. You remember this fight, dude? Mick the Beck didn't take one back step, bro. This dude was just going forward the whole time and just, my God, painting him for the takedown, going out some strikes, just beautiful, beautiful pressure the whole time. Took some shots from Jacob Manson, like he does in a lot of his fights. Mick the Beck does take a lot of shots in some of his fights if you watch him fight, but he's so durable that it doesn't do anything to him, and he just keeps unloading on you like heavier weapons, more pressure. He can take you down. He can submit you. He can ground and pound. He can just do so many things. And I think it's a matter of time before we start putting respect on his name as well, which we already know. It's a stacked division. The welterweight division is probably one of the most stacked right now, next to like the bantamweight. The bantamweight. Not so much lightweight anymore, but lightweight and your middleweight. Really good division. Mick the Beck for me is the uncrowned guy in that division that he fights so well. I think next year you'll have a ranking next to his name very quickly. Jacob Manson, on the other hand, we may or may not see this guy next year. He had a very tough time in middleweight. There was a stage where he was ranked in the top 5, and then hasn't, and he's been on a losing streak. Got brutally KO'd by RoboCop. You know what fighters do? We all know what fighters do when they leave a division, is because now they need to go and they want to reset their career, right? They want to restart everything and go back to ground zero. And he went down in weight here. And I personally felt, and I know you called this, AD, you asked the question when we were doing the live, was like, how is he getting KO'd when he got scraped on his ear, right? Valid question to ask. I get it. But I think if you can go back in history, right, and go look at a lot of fighters that got KO'd when they do weight cuts or they go down in the division, especially when they look very gaunt and they're like, you can see they're sickly and they're not breathing very well. Electrolyte balance is all out, right? 10-1, they're gonna get KO'd in their fight because the brain don't have any liquid. There's no oxygen there as much as it was when they were naturally in their actual weight size. So you can flick a brow on the forehead and you'll go down because the weight cut's so bad. And that's what happened to Jack Manson here. And that's probably why you saw the odds spike like that on the weekend. Remember the odds spiked and then came down again? And I think that's because that weight cut was so ugly and so devastating to Jack Manson's body that when Mick the Big flicked him on the ear, he went out like that. And I see comments on Instagram and videos, people like, how the hell? He took a dive. I'm like, no, bro. This man was out cold. And you can even date it back now. Grown up or even a child, smacking someone's ears like that, right, will really put you off balance. Right? Imagine getting hit. Mick the Big didn't tap him on the ear. Mick the Big threw a full left straight. He put full power into it. And even if it just lightly touched Manson's ear, it still came with a lot of power and velocity. It came with a lot of precision as well. It's like, you know what I mean? He didn't just throw the fist out there. He punched, bro, with full force. And again, with that kind of bad weight cuts, fighters will fold. They will go down. They will go down easily because you're made of glass. Your weight cut was so bad that you only had 24 hours to correct that. It's just not enough time. You can go ask Peter Miller. He speaks about it a lot. It's just not enough time. So I wasn't surprised at the KO. I actually thought Mick was going to tap him out, but the KO, well done. Beautiful fight. For Jack Manson, I think for his own health and safety, maybe go back to middleweight and try it again, or maybe go to a different organization if you still want to fight, or maybe hang up the gloves, bro. You was talking about hiking and finding different business outside of the fight game when in one of his fight against RoboCop. I saw in the embedded of that fight week. You mentioned on the embedded episode that he's talking about, doing hiking tours and things like that. Bruh, it's an investment. I'd rather do that if I'm him. You make money doing that. Everybody loves mountains. It's less damage to your body. It's still very healthy. You're still very active. Rather go and do that, bruh. For your safety, for your wife's safety, for your children, do that rather. Because you're getting KO'd by a guy that's smaller than you, easier, more devastating than what RoboCop did to him. So, yeah, that's my take. For Mick the Big, I'm saying it now, guys. Don't be surprised to see this guy in the top 10 as early as halfway through next year.
You think he gets a ranked opponent next, PG?
I would love to see it.
At the bottom of the division here, we have D-Rod, Jeff Neal, Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns.
Welterweight division. Where is that? Oh, it's on the screen. Yeah, dude, I'd love to see him get the Jeff Neal. He's probably gonna get D-Rod next because it's Mick the Big. He's not English speaking and wada. All the reasons that they would list as to why he's not marketable enough. Bruh, put him in with the Colby Covington. Watch that fight go down. You're gonna be like, okay, this is the guy. We don't give him someone like a Jeff Neal or D-Rod, who, in my opinion, he will smoke quite easily. Give him someone that will wrestle with him, someone that will make it a grueling, high-level grappling exchange and striking exchange, like a heavy pacey kind of fight. Give him someone, even a Gilbert Burns, where you can showcase his skill set. Because I don't want to see him fight against another guy that he can walk through so easily. It's not going to be very good for him. Although that's also marketable stuff. I feel like fighters gain more respect when they go to war with noticeable names. You know what I'm saying? So I think give him a Colby Covington or give him a Gilbert Burns. I think he wins those fights as well. But he'll win it in the fashion where you go, okay, just pay attention to Mick the Big or buy.
Play BG. All right, then we'll go to the heavies now. And we saw Waldo Cortez Acosta, the folklore hero, stepping in on short notice here, KOing Shamil Gaziev in the very first round. The thrilling KO by the seemingly is going in popularity as the weeks go by here, BG. So, yeah, what can you tell us here, bro? The heavies.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was either DSBV or it was Powhatan that said not to bet on Waldo Cortez Acosta. Because they were saying too short notice, flying across the world, taking on a really good boxer and Shamil. And I thought to myself, yeah, but Waldo Acosta didn't take any damage in his last fight. He took an eye poke at most. That was the most damaging thing he took, was the eye poke. And then he KO'd the bra when he came back from it. You know what I'm saying? And he also has a really good possum way of fighting. That way he looks a bit hurt and he does this drunken master cuck and he goes back against the cage and he looks a bit strange and then bang! He's actually fine and then he knocks you out. Right? He was never actually hurt at all. And I'm noticing that pattern in the way that he fight, and he used that same pattern in this fight because his opponent in Gaziev was the one that was putting the pressure, utilizing that range and reach, right? And letting the jab go and forcing the boxing exchanges and just looking like I'm gonna be the one that's gonna dictate the pace here. But I feel like now that I've watched a couple of more fights of Waldo Acosta, I feel like that's actually the game plan that he has. You're actually going into his trap by doing that. I feel like the way to beat Waldo Acosta is to actually let him have the driving seat. He's gonna show you those. A fighter that gets knockouts via counter striking so much aren't comfortable when they have to push the initiative. I've seen that pattern way too much over fighting. Of all the years of watching fights, a fighter that is very good at counter striking you, when the moment you say, "Okay, I'm gonna stand back and let you come to me," and they seem uncomfortable all of a sudden. They look very uncomfortable. So now they don't know what. It's almost like it's not what I planned for. It's not what I actually trained like. I didn't train for me to be the one to do the 3-2 and then a low kick. I'm the one that's waiting for you to come to me. I'm gonna sleep you when you come close. So I feel like the way to beat Waldo Acosta is to not actually chase him down and try to KO him, but to actually let him bring it to you, because then he's gonna show you those targets. But yeah, great win for him. Gaziev, I thought it was a mad knockout. I thought maybe he might have broken something because the way he grabbed his face after getting KO'd was mad. Because if you remember, when Waldo Acosta caught him with that right hand, he literally went and then grabbed his face like that. So I wonder if he might have broken something as well. But first, big thing for Waldo Acosta, I think he's doing the right thing to fast track himself. I think since the beginning of 2024, the man has gone on a streak. I think now 5 fights in 2025. Massive performance. Lots of bonus that he's racking up. And I think next year we're gonna see this guy cracking the top 5 and fighting for number 1 contendership.
Yeah, he is just outside of the top 5, ranked at number 6 at the moment, PG. And yeah, he's on a 2-fight streak now. Last time out, he lost to Sergey Pavlovich. Before that, he was on a 4-fight streak. So yeah, bro, what do you want to see next for him here?
Either Jailton Almeida or Curtis Blades.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right then, BG. That will wrap up that one for us quite nicely. And we'll go to the opening bout of the main card here. This, of course, was the one that broke your parlay, BG. BG made a live parlay, as you'll see on screen there. Tagir Ulambekov, of course, breaking that one. But yeah, before we went on, you were talking about Kyoji Horiguchi, saying that you and many other people weren't putting enough respect on his name, and he just reminded people how good he was here. So give us your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what would have helped me with that one was if I actually had paid attention to Horiguchi outside of the UFC. Like if I watched him more frequently, you know what I mean? And I didn't do that, and I felt that that's probably why I felt a little bit apprehensive. And also he's fighting against Ulambekov, who trains with Khabib, trains with Islam Makhachev, one of the main training partners. Has had some good performances in the UFC. Tall, big flyweight kind of guy. Range was there for him. But Horiguchi scored him, bro. Horiguchi had the fight style that was a nightmare for him. It was the in and out movement, it was the bouncing on the feet, it was the speed. And he attacked the calf kick so much that Ulambekov actually couldn't even grapple with him. And there was a moment where Horiguchi could shoot on him as well. And Horiguchi, like I said, and I will repeat myself a little bit now because we were talking off camera and you mentioned it. He was the guy, dude, even today in 2025, Mighty Mouse speaks about Horiguchi so highly. Because Horiguchi was the guy to dethrone him. Horiguchi was that dude. He was that dude. Of course, Mighty Mouse beat him fairly easily, but Horiguchi was that guy. And this performance reminded us of it. He took out a top name, right? I know Ulambekov isn't in the top 10, but I mean, he was climbing the rankings. Top fighter to figure out, and Horiguchi made him look average, bro. Horiguchi made him look like he actually didn't know how to fight. Beat him at every avenue, outboxed him, outstruck him, outgrappled him, stronger, faster, just more experienced. His record was mad. I think it was Powhatan that said or it was Benjamin Maker that said, he's like, 35 wins and 4 losses is like, what the fuck? What's up with this man's record? I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? He's a high level dude, champion out of Ryzen, dominated some of the guys in Bellator, beat Sergio Pettis. I mean, the guy's he's taken some good scalps on his resume, right? And the finishing sequence, I mean, what the hell was that? I mean, the stuff that he was throwing, the high kicks, the low kicks, the punching, this everything. Ilan Bekov just didn't know what to do. And here's the thing also, I was a bit skeptical if he was going to get the finish. I was like, is he really going to get this finish? Because it was late in the third round when he did it. That was like the last embers of the third round. And he was like, okay, now I'm just going to go. And he went on him. And you could see Horiguchi still had 2-3 more rounds in him to go. You could see he was hyped to fight easy championship rounds. I think that's why the fight was heavily, or at least why the fight looked so easy for him, was because he's a high-level champion. Yeah, great performance. Proved everybody why he's still top dog at the age that he is. And I like his call out as well. He was like, Pantoja, I know we friends, but it make no difference. Fight is a fight, bruh. I'm going to beat you anyway. For me, cut the promo, pay the man the bag, let this guy scrap. I know he's got Joshua Van next week. But Horiguchi, I think if he goes up against another top 5 contender like a Roy Ball, I know he's fighting someone next week or the week after. If he goes up against maybe a Tetsuya Taira, they won't do that because Japan on Japan. But I mean, any one of those top 5 guys, I think Horiguchi gets a win over them. You know what I mean? You could say, give me Albazi, give me Brandon Moreno. You know what I mean? Because he's got that amount of notoriety to do that. And especially beating a Team Khalabib member, deserves it, bro. Deserves it. Let's go, Horiguchi.
Oops, there we go. Okay, let's go. Sorry, I was on mute there. Moreno's fighting Taira at UFC 323. That's 7th of December.
Oh shit. Okay.
And then Royval, I'm not sure if he has a fight.
Yeah, I think he's got a fight.
He's got a fight against Manal Cup, yeah, coming up. That is going to be 14th of December, so a week after Moreno's fight.
I'd say he goes up against Albazi. I think he jumps the line, bro. Look at those names.
You did mention his age. He's 35 years old also, bro. So
you see what I'm saying?
Time isn't on his side. And to be fair, Pantoja has beaten everyone, bro. They were getting like tired up from outside of the organization to come and fight him, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be against it either, bro. I think he made a hell of a statement coming back and putting on a performance like that. Why not, bro?
Exactly. And I think like if you look above him, right, the only fighter outside of that top 10 that he can go up against would be Asu Almobayev, who also had a good win. He beat Alex Perez, who's ranked number 7. But I'm saying the former champion, fought Mighty Mouse, champion out of Rise, beat some of the best guys in Bellator. I'm like, you know what? Give him Albazi. He smokes Albazi. He gets the champion next.
Got Jedi Knight in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. And the top 5, they're all shit in the flyweight. And the top 5. I mean, Almobayev, bro. Yeah, I still believe he was robbed against Manal Cup, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's high level, bro. Honestly, top level fighter. Very young still as well, and I think time will be there for him. Manal Cup's also top level as well, but he's not in the top 5. He's not in the top 5.
He's just outside. Shit, I was asking about Manal Cup. Saying Cup is also shit. How do you rate Manal Cup?
I don't think he's off bad, bro. He's a really good fighter as well. I just believe that against the best guys like the 2 Brandons, Pantoja, I think they beat him. I think they all beat him. So he won't ever be at that level. But he will always be just there. Number 5, maybe number 4, but definitely number 6, number 7 is where we will remain.
Fair play. BG, let us know your thoughts if you got any chat. But that closes out the main card for us quite nicely, BG. We were on live for the whole event, so we did manage to see all of the prelims this time.
Yep.
Any prelims you'd like to highlight for us here, bro?
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely. Bogdan Grad getting KO'd by Luke Riley. Luke Riley, I think Cage Warriors debut fight in the UFC took on a very good game opponent in Bogdan Grad. Bogdan Grad, like I said to the guys in the live chat, I was like, he's either gonna give you a balls to the wall kind of fight, or he's gonna put on a snooze fist by just cage grab, clinching up against the cage, staying there, being safe, throw some shots. That's what he normally does. And he was doing that in the first round and won in the first round, but you look a little bit tired. Luke Riley, when the round ended, looked like he was actually just waking up. You could see he was just like, all right, I'm actually in the fight here. And then did what he did what Paddy called, and left to KO, deserved it. Big finish for him. I want to see more. I want to see more fights of Luke Riley. Bogdan Grad.
Daddy.
We always just see Daddy on the prelims, bro. But we can keep it moving. I think the next fight I do want to highlight. I think there were some of the guys in the chat over the live. They were saying Nicholas Dolby doesn't win the fight. They also felt that he didn't win because of the whole performance. But I actually say that he won the fight because he was stronger than Saichit. He was able to dominate some of the grappling exchanges. He was being more active when they were clinching. He was then landing more damaging shots. He looked to be the more vibrant fighter. 41 years old, and he had that amount of gas tank. The younger bra, Saichit, didn't look like he wanted to fight after the second round. He was like, I don't want to fight anymore. You could see he wanted to throw in the towel. So, yeah, big ups to Nicholas Dolby for winning that fight on split decision. I think he deserved the win, in my opinion. Alex Perez. This is the guy who don't deserve to have a ranking next to his name, in my opinion. 4 years of fighting in the top 10. Hasn't won one of those fights. I think he beat Mateus Nicolau, who's ranked outside of the top 10, by the way. Good win for him, but I mean, it's Mateus Nicolau, by the way. He wasn't, yeah, he's not really that much. Since he got KO'd not KO'd, when he got tapped out by, he did get KO'd by Cruz Together, who isn't even in the division anymore. He fights like he's still seeing ghosts, bruh. Like you can see Perez is still seeing Pantoja there. And here's the thing, he was doing really well. He was doing really well. You know what I'm saying? He was winning the first round. I remember the boys in the chat was like, oh my word, why must he fight so well in this fight when we actually have a bet against him? Right? He was doing really well, but it wasn't enough to stop Almabayev in any way, shape, or form. And Almabayev got comfortable in the fight. I thought he won the second round. Almabayev definitely won that second round. In the third round, you could see it was like, I'm going to end this, bro. I'm going to end this, bro, right now. And then Perez shot for a takedown, panic takedown after getting beaten up on the feet. And then basically a standing guillotine, bro. Charles Oliveira's vibes. Standing guillotine. Deserved the win. Deserved he didn't get a bonus. And now he claims the number 7 spot. He goes up in the rankings. And I like that he's patiently climbing up the rankings. He's still taking his time, which is a good thing. He doesn't have to rush. He's still young. And I think over time, people are going to realize this dude is going to be top 5. He's not of that kind of fighters that is only going to wet blanket you. He can grapple and submit you. But you can see he prefers to strike, even though he's got high-level grappling, which makes him a really dangerous fighter, bro. So, yeah, well done to Almabayev. Deserves the growth. Perez, for me, I said this 2 years ago. Take away his ranking. He's too inactive. When he does fight, he keeps losing. And you can't keep a number 7 rank if you're losing. I think he has 1 win in 4 fights. That's not number 7. That's not number 7 worthy. That's like you should be ranked number 10 at best for that kind of record. If you're lucky. You know what I mean? So yeah, I stand on what I'm saying. That's my business here. Almabayev deserves everything that he gets. Perez, nah, not so much. And then I think a good fight that was also on display. I think Alexander Topuria had a fantastic performance against Beksat Almakan's a good fighter, and Pantoja, Topuria really fought a good fight. But too, what's the word? Not antsy, because you could see he was trying to get that KO in the third round. But I felt that if he actually put the pressure on hard and committed to some KO shots in the first 2 rounds, he would have gotten it. He tried to grapple the moments where he didn't have to grapple. I felt that if he kept the fight standing, he probably would have gotten the finish, because the grappling was not in his favor. Beksat was very much alive and awake to those grappling moments, and defended all of it. And that's why I felt that if the Porter just had to keep the fight standing, he probably would have gotten the finish. Powerful boxer for the bantamweight division, and also a high-level grappler. Keep a lookout for that fight there, but he might be able to really become a thorn for that top 5 in due time, obviously. And then lastly, I want to talk about Ismail Nauddin. He beat Ryan Loader. And Ryan Loader, Ultimate Fighter, Season 32 winner, gets KO'd, face down, ass up kind of finish. He's going to get memed, bruh. For Ismail, I think he should have gotten a bonus. He didn't get the bonus. He fought this World Cup, deserved the win. And I think over time he's also going to be a fighter that people are going to recognize. I don't see him in the top 10 of the world, the middleweight division. I don't think he's going to be a top ranking opponent. But he will get a ranking. I just don't think he's going to be a top ranker. Yeah, deserved the win.
Fair play, BG. Give thanks. And that is indeed UFC Qatar. It came and it went. Was a decent card. Very good time for us. Give us your final thoughts and your post-fight score for the card, bro.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if I started off with a 7. I think it was a 6. I'm gonna bump up my score to an 8. I think it was a really amazing fight card. I think the timing was good for us. Fantastic finishes, big statement wins for a couple of fighters on the fight card, for a lot of fighters on the fight card actually. And I think that deserves an 8 because it was very, very entertaining. And also just again, big movement for some of the divisions. So I think that was really good.
Fair play. Yeah, I think it was a very good fight card, bro. I think it would be one decent fight away from being like a really good fight card, pay-per-view worthy.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go with a 7.5 maybe. But it was a very entertaining card for the fight night card, I must say. So give thanks to the UFC and Uncle Dana hooking us up with a good fight time and also a decent card here. And yeah, we did get paid. Like I said, it's one of the few cards that actually went exactly like I thought it was gonna go. So it's always nice when that happens. Shout out to everybody who joined the stream. And yeah, we will now be transitioning to One Friday Fights 134.
Let's go.
Place on Friday afternoon at 2:30 South African time. Main event was Yodlik Pet versus Anar Mamadov. PG, we will start
at the top of the card.
At the top of the card, we did see Yodlik Pet get the job done against Mamadov by unanimous decision. And yeah, bro, just to kind of revisit the picks for this one, it was a day of dogs for sure. Really a lot of underdogs winning, a lot of unexpected results. We crashed and burned with our parlay on this one. But yeah, give us your thoughts on the main event here, bro. So just before you do you think I should risk the footage or what are you thinking here, bro?
You see it in the past, it hasn't been an issue when we did Friday Fights footage.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm split down the middle because the part of me is like, just do it anyway.
I don't think it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
So we'll just go as normal. Yeah.
Just do images. I must say in this fight, to be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed in Mamadov. I felt that he didn't utilize the weapons that was in his advantage, which was the height, right, and the speed and volume. He had the speed and volume, but he didn't use it as much. He kept on throwing this left uppercut in a way that I didn't like. He was getting counted the whole time, and he kept looking for that uppercut. And I felt that, why are you throwing the uppercut? You're taller than this guy. You know what I mean? And you got speed on him. Fight at range. Let's let the jab work. Is it the deep go? Is it the jab too high kick go? Let's allow those weapons to keep him at bay. Yodlik Pet doesn't do very well as strikers that are faster and taller than him. He doesn't. He's an in-fighter. He wants to low kick you, getting close, body shot, headshot. That's what he wants to do all the time. Counter boxing, that's Yodlik Pet, looking for those big shots. And now Mamadov allowed it to happen. He played right into those hands, put the pressure on, which is already a good thing because it didn't allow Yodlik Pet to chase him down. Yodlik Pet says, you're coming to me? Okay, fine, let's go. Boom, let's bang. Right? You don't want to give the shorter fighter that opportunity to actually close the distance or go into them. You know what I mean? You keep them at bay and you utilize your volume and your range on them all the time. Because then what will happen is it's gonna be so difficult for them to strike with you. They're gonna do things that's away from the game plan. They're gonna do silly stuff that's gonna give away was going to give you that KO. You know what I mean? But he gave the fight to Yodek by going into range, trying to uppercut him every time. And I was like, nah, this man's going to counter you the whole time. And that's exactly what he was doing. Yodek fought the perfect fight, clean on the back foot. Even when he was going forward, he was just landing at will. Inside the kicks was there all day, every day. And in every round, it looked like he was up all the time. And look, Mammadov was a game opponent. He's a game opponent. The dude was taking the shots and he went forward. My memory serves me well. I think Mammadov was knocked down in the first round. I think first or second round he was knocked down. And basically had to fight the fight hard since then. And he was putting on the pace and the pressure, but just was unsuccessful in landing everything because I felt that the weapons of choice that he was throwing wasn't the right stuff. He didn't stop Yodek Pet by attacking the calves. If I'm fighting against Yodek Pet or Kama Wood, I'm spamming those deep kicks, bro. I'm gonna spam it on you. You don't wanna you're not gonna wanna take it anymore. You know what I mean? And he didn't utilize any of those weapons. He just wanted to box with him. Straight up boxing. And I was like, no, that's not how you beat Yodek Pet. So I think he deserved the loss. The game plan was pathetic and bombed our parlay. And well done to Yodek Pet to get the win again, but he deserved that performance because let's be honest, his last couple of fights haven't been the greatest. This is 2 wins in 4 fights. You know what I mean? He needed to get something. He needed to get some kind of momentum again. And I think a win over a very game opponent in Mammadov, who arguably is actually a big flyweight. Well done to him. Just well done to Yodek Pet. Quite such a dangerous guy.
Fair play, BG. Fair play. In the co-main event, we had another upset here with your boy Dedo got the job done by unanimous decision against Wutikrai, bro. How did this one play out?
Again, another fight where I'm a little bit disappointed in one of the fighters, and that's Wutikrai. Very impressed at Dedo Leg because he leveled up some of that punching power. I've watched a lot of Dedo Leg fights. That's why I always say his name like that because I always hear the commentators go Dedo Leg, and I'm like, yo, such a badass name. And he's such a fantastic. I don't know what they call it in Thailand, but he's an out of the range fighter. And he breaks you down. He breaks you down over 3 rounds. Methodically, he breaks you down, and he's very good at that. And I thought Wutikrai fought that fight, and that's why he probably lost the fight. I would have loved to see Wutikrai fight the way he fights other fights, which is like he's got that I'm gonna take you out, bro. I'm gonna take you head off. He didn't do that in this fight. He fought a little bit tentative, too much. What's the word I'm looking for? Where he was managing distance too much. So he was like, okay, we're gonna stand here, hard low kick, hard body kick, stand here, body kick, stand again, throw a punch. Where were the elbows? Where was the clinch elbow? Where was that? Where was that fight? That look in Wudikrai's eye where he's just gonna take you out, but he's gonna look for the KO. He didn't do any of that. And then when he was putting on the pressure, getting aggressive, hunting would do down leg down. They don't like just kind of sidestep, triple left hook, drops him. I'm like, yeah, they don't like just. They don't like the younger fighter, for 3 years. I thought Wutikrai was the younger fighter. 3 years younger, they don't like. He fought like he's got 10 years more experience than Wutikrai, bro. You know what I mean? It was a great fight to watch, even though we didn't get any finishes. I thought it was a good fight to watch because of the level of display of Muay Thai that was on in this fight. You had the one guy in Wutikrai looking for the KO, hunting, throwing big body kicks, trying to do something. And Dedonlek was just too privy to it. He was just too wise, too smart, too strong, just defensively sound. He wasn't there to be hit. I thought that was very impressive, but that's what Dedonlek does. And the only thing I wanted to see from Dedonlek was, which I was saying all week last week, does he have the knockout power? You know what I mean? He can outpoint you. That's what he's best at. But I want to see him maybe sit down on a punch. I want to see him actually throw a heavy shot. Take someone's lights out. And he still didn't do it in this fight, but he still got the knockdown. You know what I mean? That's my biggest take on this fight here is that I wanted to see these guys level up their game a little bit more. This fight demanded that, and neither one really changed their style. And they don't actually won with his style. He deserved the win. I don't know why it says round 1 UD on screen.
Yeah, it's a strange
weird
one, but it shouldn't be surprising with the one championship website management there, bro. It's just not their strong suit. But anyway, bro, somebody who did impress us on the night was Lenny Blassie. He
Yes.
looked fantastic against Ilyas Musiev. Was an absolute odds-on favorite here. Blassie upsetting a lot of people's parlays, I imagine. But of course, I think DSBV did put a little something on him. So shout out to DSBV. Once again. PG.
Yeah, that was a big call from DSBV. I was a bit apprehensive to go on Lenny just because of the inactivity, and then like his last 2 fights in 2025 were both losses via TKOs. I was like, yo, this man isn't getting finished here. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? But watching him fight in the night, I was quite impressed. I thought he was going to lose, but I was quite impressed about the performance. He had good volume. He had used his range really well because he was significantly taller, by the way. I'm like, yo, Lenny's actually a massive dude for the bantamweight division. He's got good height on him. And I liked how he was able to manage that distance because he got a lot of his brother. He got a lot of his shots by being the faster guy, but being aggressive. And whenever Musayev was trying to be aggressive to him, he wasn't there to be hit. He was able to step away, utilize lateral movement, let the body kicks rip. And then once the body kicks rip, and you could see Musayev was ducking down. He didn't defend them really well. He was almost sinking into it like that. And I was like, oh, bad body language. And that gave Blassie confidence. And you could see when they got to the second and third round, Blassie was just starting to unload more combinations on him with the punches, with the kicks, with the elbows. And they just walked him down all the time, dude. And I thought that was quite impressive because I personally felt that Musayev was going to be able to be the one to do what Blassie did. But he didn't. So yeah, well done to Blassie. Didn't get the KO. I think he could have gotten the KO if he actually spammed the body kicks a little bit more in the last round. Musayev wasn't taking them very well. He was doing very poor at defending them. But I think that's because the damage was quite significant. Damage was there. Good return to one championship for him. Very, very impressed. But I also think he's entering a division that is just way too stacked right now. Way too stacked right now. I think if he gets like a pull-up dump, for example, I think he gets slipped. I think pull-up dump puts him out in the first round. But yeah, let's see what happens next for him. I think it's a very good win over a top contender, but a top fighter. I'm keen to see what one championship does with Lenny Blassie in the future. I think he's a good name. I'm impressed with that performance.
Give thanks, brother guy. Give thanks. Some flyweight Muay Thai. You had Seksan falling short against Jacob Thompson here. Jacob Thompson getting the job done by unanimous decision. I didn't see this one, BG. So straight to you for this one.
Not much to say in this one. I think Jacob Thompson did what he did best, and that was high volume, high pace. Seksan isn't a high volume striker. He's a 1-punch, 2-punch kind of guy. He's rangy. He's got a good length on him, but he wasn't utilizing that. Watching the fight live, I was thinking to myself, yo, Seksan, why don't you throw stuff? Like, why don't you fight? You know what I mean? Like, he didn't do anything. Like, the ratio was so off. You would throw one jab, and then it may not even land, right? Then Jacob Thompson would just jump in on him and then throw like a 4-punch and end with a low kick. Like, beat him up, bro. Like, land on it. Looked like it was a fight where one guy was superior in terms of speed and volume for Jacob Thompson. And then Seksan was fighting a fight. I don't even know how to describe this because he was so out of range. He was missing a lot of his shots. He barely threw anything. He was looking like he was half asleep in the cage, in the ring there. Very disappointed in his performance, to be honest with you. But Jacob Thompson, I can't give him that much praise either. I saw some stuff that he was doing on defense, which I didn't like. For example, when he throws like a 2-piece or a 3-piece combination, he's dropping out the right to the left hand, so he doesn't keep his guard there. He doesn't box like that. It's like just throw stuff out in the void and get crazy on you. And then if it doesn't land all of it, he'll clinch to break away, to reset and then break away. Play it a little bit safe there. And I personally feel like higher level fighters in the flyweight division will catch him for that kind of performance. If he's coming forward with the chin up like this and throwing a 1-2 and then ducking under and throwing a right hand, chins all the up here, a fight like Rodtang or Nong will just block, counter elbow, drop him. You know what I'm saying? They would let him stand dead still in the void with him and watch him throw all this wild stuff. Maybe block the third strike and then throw an elbow and then you see him go down. Promise you. So as much as I thought the win was good for him, I feel like there's a lot of stuff on defense that he has to fix, in my opinion, before he can really crack even in the top 10 of that. Even the number 10 guy who if I'm not mistaken, is Shimon Yoshinari. So we'll get to a bit later. And I think Shimon Yoshinari will smoke him within like the first round, by the way. But yeah, that's all my take on that fight, to be honest with you. We can actually go past the next two fights as well, AD, because that fights were kind of. I remember when we were doing the live, the lads weren't even paying attention to that fight. We were just bantering in the chat the whole time. And they were kind of snooze feasts. So we can skip past the next two fights.
Okay. So we'll go then to Elias Abdelali in the job done by first round TKO here against Alverdi Ramazanov.
My guy. Sorry, you say something, AD. Cut out there for a second.
You go. As you know, I was very much working during this time, so I think you can see too much yet.
Okay, sorry, I don't know why your audio is dipping like that. But yeah, this was a big fight for me because Alverdi Ramazanov is coming up, or he was coming up in weight for this fight. Obviously, former bantamweight kickboxing champion. And I thought that he was taking on a very good young contender. I mean, pardon me, if you watch Abdelali's first fight in one championship, he took on PTT. And he fought a great fight. Now, I know I always highlight PTT's defense as the weakest defense in the division, possibly in the brand, in the promotion, right? So he's easy to hit, but he's so durable that even if you hit him with your hardest punch, he's probably still going to walk right through it. And I like that he won the fight because I was like, you can't keep scoring fighters for being able to take shots. And then now they land one big shot and you're like, oh, look at this. Give it to PTT the way he beat Banatesta. I was like, I don't agree. Abdelali did what he did best in that fight, and that was good footwork, high volume, powerful shots, defensively safe most of the time, doesn't take a lot of damage. I thought, it's going to be a tricky fight for Ramazanov because of that. Fight started early, and Ramazanov was dominating with the low kicks, calf kicks, and within like 15 seconds of the fight, leg break. And I heard it. I was watching it back. I just heard, and I was like, what was that sound? And then literally a second later, I see Ramazanov he goes down, but he doesn't wince, he doesn't go or anything, he just sits there. And I was like, the dude isn't moving. And the first thing I thought to myself was like, is his leg broken? But then he tries to step up, he can't step up. And I was like, okay, maybe his leg is cooked. So the replay, and it was a leg break, Anderson Silva vibes, leg doing different kinds of waving ankles, all kinds of loose. And I was like, ugly leg break. Killed our parlay, by the way, and the fight before that. Excuse me, the fights before that one. Killed our parlay due to no contest and what. I'm gonna say it now. If this fight had to continue, I wasn't that convinced on Ramazanov. Even though we had him in our parlay, I wanted him because of the championship level, and I do think he's a very, very good fighter. But I did feel like this was going to be a matchup. It was almost like Ramazanov was fighting the younger version of himself. I thought that was going to be difficult for him. And I think he's actually quite lucky that it was the leg break, because it's mad to say because it was a leg break, but I think he would have gotten KO'd. And it's mad because we put money on him, but I was apprehensive for that bet. I felt, Lali's probably going to put it on him. You know what I mean? But anyway, unlucky leg break. I saw that he had successful surgery. He's on recovery already. So wishing him all the best. Hope to see him back again soon. For Abdelali, book this guy a fight within this year still, please. He deserves to throw out another fight. He's such a top talented fighter. I want to see more of him. Book him another fight in December, please.
Give thanks, PG. Give thanks. Someone who didn't press the chat and the boys on the stream was Islay Erika Bomogao. So she got the job done by second round KO against Ploy Chompu.
Samurai Chompu. Yeah, dude, Islay Erika Bomogao is just doing the things. She plays the place. She's got this innocent, cutesy type energy, you know. I didn't know that Philippines girls have powerful hands. We all can box out here. But then when she fights, she's like, who is this woman, bro? Why is she so intense? Why is she so strong? I do still think low-key that she's a little bit undersized, but there isn't a division below this division. So it's like she has to fight in this division. So when I put her up against like a Pechija or Alicia Rodriguez, for example, like, do you think that she's gonna do really well against those kind of fighters? You know what I mean? They are really big atom weights. They pretty tank atom weights. You know what I'm saying? And I think Islay Erika Bomogao will definitely fight for a title as soon as next year. Promise you guys. She's got 4 fights in one, 2 finishes, I think. The other 2 fights were dominant fashion. One of the best white crews you'll ever see, ever. You know what I mean? She's just a top level fighter. I don't put too much stock in this performance because Plau Chumpu, like who is she? With all due respect, like who is she? You know what I mean? So I hope to see Islay Erika Bomogao get someone a little bit more high level going forward. I think she deserves that. I think we need to see her grow a little bit more. You don't have to rush her. She's only 25 years old. I do think at this stage, let's give her someone that could at least put some pace on her, put some pressure on her, make it a little bit difficult. I know Martina Kazenska is going to fight against Pejija, I think next week or the week after. I think it's next week. That's a good fight. That's a very good fight. But I feel it's not a title fight. I feel like that's why it's a bit of a problem for me. I don't want to see champions fighting in non-champion fights. It's problematic unless it's like fighter pulls out last minute. You know what I mean? I get that. But don't put Pejija up against somebody that also fights Muay Thai, right? Rodriguez is the champion. You put Pejija up against Martina Kazenska. If you really wanted to see a movement in that division, I would have said Pejija against Rodriguez or Martina against Rodriguez. But Erika is very quickly putting herself in that top 5 very, very quickly. Fight of the night, KO of the night, deserved the bonus, deserved everything that she came for herself in that night. Very excited to watch her fight again. Top level fighter. Fun guy. Fun woman to get around. To get behind, sorry.
Ayo. Okay, thanks, PG. Yeah, it was the biggest disappointment I think on the card for us here was the Shimon Yoshinari versus Tajir Khalilov fight in a no contest due to an eye poke. If I do remember well, I did give Shimon the first round. I think better leg kicks, more pressure, I think is what I said in the chat in the moment. But yeah, unfortunate result here, bro. What can you tell us, bro?
Yeah, very unfortunate actually. Kind of made me feel gutted about it because I was like, oh, Shimon would have kicked our parlay off so lekker. He was actually really beating up Tajir. You could see Tajir wasn't really... And I think the IPO came in the second round, by the way. You know, so he wasn't doing good at all in the first round. You could see he was punching shadows. He was hitting the air. Difficult to find that range. Shimon was just piecing him up, and Shimon was still getting warmed up. You could see he was still getting loose. He wasn't even in his full momentum yet. He wasn't even in flow state. He was still finding that moments. And Tajir just didn't have anything for him in that first round. Shimon's inside low kick and then body kick and then the left straight was just there all day, and Tajir didn't know how to deal with it. And you could see that when they were gonna go into the second and third round, you could see that Shimon was gonna look for that KO now. He found the range, he found the rhythm. He was like, okay, now I have to land on this guy the whole time. I'm gonna get this dude out of here. And then the eye poke was very unfortunate because it was an eye poke, right? It wasn't purposeful. But Shimon Yoshinari's fingers were extended, by the way, which I said on stream live. I was like, his fingers were extended. That's an eye poke right there. Even though he's measuring and pushing off, right? His fingers were like this. It was like a straight. He didn't push off like that. It was like this. And I didn't like that. And I was like, oh, you could get fouled here. You could get DQ'd for this. So they gave him a no contest from the parlay up. Shimon Yoshinari did say at the end of the fight he felt that Tajir Khalilov was wanting the way out. He felt that he could have continued, but he didn't. I looked at it again. He couldn't really open up his eye. The man, you could see he was trying, and he couldn't really open up the eye. And honestly, I know that the whole thing of like, but you can fight through it, and he's a bitch, and all that people say stuff. If I'm fighting somebody and I can't see out of one eye, I'm probably not going to continue with it because it's a big risk. You know, you could face even more damages to your eye than what you think. You know, because you could fight someone that could be a bit of an asshole. Now they're only hitting your eye. They're only cross jabbing to the one eye. Straight to the only targeting that. Now you come out of the fight and now you don't even have an eye. Michael Bisping. You know what I'm saying? So I hear the calls for it, like, oh, he could have continued, but at the same time, would you do that? Let someone eye poke you the same way and tell me if you're gonna fight back. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're going to want to continue. People get fluff in their eye and then they want to go. So let's just like, at the end of the day, we want to see fighters healthy. We want to see them perform again. We don't want to see them go in there now after this fight, Taji's out for like 4 months because his eye took too much damage. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I really want to talk about when it comes to this fight is I personally think that going forward, if you really want to mitigate unintentional fouls, then DQ. DQ will stop it. You can tell fighters until you're purple in the face, watch your fingers, watch your fingers, watch your fingers. They're still going to do it, right? Because you're going to say it's unintentional because it's drilled into them. It's just muscle memory. It's still going to be risky. You're still going to get eye pokes all the time. But if you're going to keep no contesting, what's going to happen is no one wins, no one changes anything. The only one who loses is the promotion. The integrity of the promotion loses. That's what happens there. You start questioning the brand. Like, what are we going to do about this? So, in my opinion, if you DQ the fighters, right, then it shows up as a loss on their record. Now they go, fuck, I got a loss on my record. That's going to limit me title shots. It's going to limit me number of contender fights. I won't be able to climb the rankings as fast. I'm not going to be marketable so much, right? Now I'm really going to have to watch my fingers. The reason why I'm saying that is I've only seen one fighter in my entire life be conscious about this, and that's Ian fucking Garry. He did it last week. The second eye poke on Belal Muhammad, they replayed that so many times. Ian Garry had fists. He had closed fists, and he pushed off. It looked a bit strange. It's risky. He could get knocked out by doing that, right? But he measured on Belal with a closed fist, and Belal went back and said eye poke. And we watched it back home. It wasn't an eye poke. The first one was a major eye poke. The second one wasn't an eye poke. But Ian Garry was conscious about the measuring. He tried to close his hand, and it still got called for an eye poke. I'm highlighting something that's very important here. He's a fighter that was conscious about something. He knew he was going to measure, and he closed his fists. And it's a big risk for him because he could get KO'd by doing that, because now his defense is gone and he's got both ultimate punch. He could get knocked out by doing that. But at least he's not eye poking his opponent anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's something that needs to be really considered. If you DQ a fighter, you're gonna force their hand. They have to do something about it. So yeah, unlucky for Tajir Karelov, unlucky for Shimon Yoshinari. Hope to see these guys on it back. So I want to see Shimon Yoshinari climb the rankings, guys. I feel like he can become a champion in that division.
Let's go BG. We're going to talk about the order farming Japanese samurai. Did his thing at one Friday fights, bro. Just a thrilling performance here, leaving the crowd wondering who the hell is this guy. Yeah. What's your thoughts here, bro?
But bro, I remember on the day the SPV was asking if we put him in our parlay, and I said no because I didn't even know he was on the card. He was saying, is Yuga not on the card? Because he wasn't before today. His name wasn't on the website. It wasn't on the card details. But I did see his name on the post on X when they released the card details on X, and they give it the poster. I saw his name there. I was like, oh, who's that? And then when I was doing the preview, because I saw that picture on Sunday last one that passed now, the one before that one, I saw the card details released and I saw his name then. And then when I did the preview the Thursday, which was the day before the fight card, his name wasn't there anymore. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. No, I mean, like, just, okay, let's just move on. And then DSPV on the live was like, is Yuga still fighting on this fight? Because I see his name. He saw the name on the betting sites, but he doesn't see it on the card details. He wasn't sure what was going on there. And I kept my mind on it. I was like, okay, let me keep my eye on this one because DSPV said, make a pick on this guy. He is the guy. Bro, what a performance. Okay, I don't know who the opponent is. So it could easily be a layup for him, right? But the fucking weapons that he was throwing out there. Dude, he reminded me of what's his name? Also flyweight kickboxer. Ranked in the top 5, by the way. Or just outside the top 5 now. Another high-level guy, high-level fighter, dude. But he was just doing the stuff. The stepping knees, the body shots. He was going to throw a high kick, but then fake high kick to a right hand, left lever shot, back into a knee. And then after he threw that knee, he threw another lever shot. And the opponent went down. And then he didn't even wait for an 8 count, nothing. He just pulled out his samurai sword, pointed him, swinging it, putting it back, walked away. Right over. I was like, nah, this dude, he's definitely order farming here, bruh. This is probably one of the best performances we see on a debut. from just someone new to the game. Because I think he's still quite young. If I'm not mistaken. I'll just check his age. I think he's still very young. 23 years old. I want to see him fight again. Let's book this guy again. And if you look at the landscape of the flyweight kickboxing division, Takedo just went to go and smoke Dennis Puric last week or the week before. Right? Super Leg probably going to come down to defend this title. He's still the champion in the division. Taiki Naito, who did he beat recently? KO'd someone. Fantastic performance as well. Oh, Nakrob. Okay, that was Muay Thai. It wasn't kickboxing, but he can still perform in kickboxing as well. I said he's climbing the rankings quite fast, undefeated. Another guy. Bro, this division is becoming one of the ones to recognize in kickboxing. And if you don't make it in this division, we'll have to throw it, bruh. We know my guy JDB is looking for more opponents. Wouldn't you love to see a fight between you and JDB, bruh, or Yuga versus JDB? Mad stuff. But anyway, for me, outside of Islay Erika, Yuga deserved all the headlines of this fight for me. Big performance from him.
Yeah, it was an absolutely scintillating performance, bro. And he stole the show for me. Any other fights you want to highlight here before we wrap up, bro?
Yeah, I think let's just talk about the last two fights, the MMA fights. I think Rory Turner, even though his opponent is a little bit of an unknown for me, Cabreros was a game opponent for 3 rounds, and Rory Turner looked good for what I noticed. He's got good grappling and good striking as well. And yeah, fought a very good fight. I want to see him fight again, dude. Strawweight MMA, another stacked division. We know my guy Bokang Mosenane is there. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to see Rory. I'd love to see Rory fight some more, because I feel like that division needs to have some more movement. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep seeing the same top 5 guys fight each other the whole time, and adding Rory into it. Good idea. And then Kim Tran, I think it was DSPV again who highlighted Kim Tran on the night. He fought against a very good wrestler in Amagul. Amagul also really has his wrestling, by the way. Because once Kim Tran found out how to defend it and actually stifle those takedowns, put the beating on her and deserved the knockout finish. Beautiful right elbow in the clinch. Bang! KO'd her, just slipped her immediately. And again, a division where Denise Ambawanga is the champion, right? So yeah, Ayaka Miura again. This goes on and on. So love to see Kim Tran perform some more. I believe she comes into the game with a good resume. So let's see the growth, bro. Let's see the growth.
Give thanks, brother Gaia, and that does wrap up One Friday Fights 134 very nicely for us. So yeah, once again, can we please get a final thought and post-fight rating, please?
I'm actually gonna give this Friday Fights card me a 6, which is mad because I think it's the lowest score I've ever given one championship card. Reason being, no contest, broken leg in 2 big fights. And then the main card wasn't really that entertaining, if I'm being honest, up until we got to like the main event realistically. The biggest fights on the fight card were the 2 undercard fights, Islay Erika Bomogao and Yuga. And they, for me, carry the biggest score on the cards. They both wrote in the 3s, which take it to a 6 out of 10 for me. That's my overall rating.
Fair play, BG. Give thanks for all of your work this evening and all of your work over the weekend. I didn't see enough of the card to give it a fair score here. But yeah, it was a great weekend of combat sports that came and went. Shout out to our new header on X. Give thanks. Yuki Gaia getting the job done against Super Leg there by unanimous decision upon 173. But all right, bro. We will then wrap it up for the evening. Thank you very much to you and everyone that tuned into the live streams over the weekend. Thank you guys so much. You know, we do love the interaction and the engagement, and super psyched to see the community growing. So give thanks, everybody. Just a lot of thank yous. We got more content coming this week, so you can watch the podcast every day.
Every day.
Joe Rogan.
Let's go. So what's up, chat? So what we're going to be doing for the rest of the week, what you can expect is the usual slots, right? So we have our One Championship new segment, which will come out on Tuesdays, and then obviously our Wednesday will be our UFC preview for this weekend. I think it's I don't remember which card it is, but I'm sure it's going to be a banger. Then we have obviously One Friday Fights on Thursday, preview for that one as well, and then we will be live One Friday Fights 135. Not too bad of a card. I think it's a lot better than the one we just had now previously. A lot more stacked, more high-level competition. And then I'm not too sure if we're going to be live with the UFC over the weekend, but that's what you're going to expect for the remainder of the week. So we hope to see you on those lives. Also, like, share, and subscribe in the banter. Let's make the channel grow.
Sorry, bro. There's no UFC this weekend from what I can see. The next card is only on the 7th of December.
Oh, 323. Okay.
Yeah.
That's next week. All right, cool. So it's one championship all week, every week, all day. Let's go. Much love to everybody that's tuned in. And hope to catch you guys on the rest of our videos throughout the week. And have a good one. Let's get it. For myself, Fighting with Friends team, have a good week. And we will catch you on the next one, guys.
Rob with the takedowns. You think he gives a if he misses a takedown? He don't care because he's going right back at it.